Tensions are running very strong between Governor Pritsker and Mayor Johnson. We can look as far back at the mayoral election when Pritsker did not endorse Johnson. Let's look at where this relationship currently stands. I can tell you it's not good, and the doors are wide open to bring the walls down.
Thank you, Casey. A rift is growing between Governor Pritsker and Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson.
It's because the mayor helped defeat a bill pushed by the governor that would have regulated hemp products like Delta 8 weed.
Political reporter Pear Schutz went one-on-one with the mayor today, one of the many things you spoke to him about, right?
We did. We had a wide-ranging one-on-one, but earlier the governor vented, saying he was blindsided by Mayor Johnson, who in the 11th hour asked lawmakers to vote against this bill to regulate hemp products like Delta 8. Pritsker says his phone line is open, but the mayor rarely chooses to call.
Lines of communications are open, but people have to take advantage of the open communication line, and often that didn't happen with regard to the hemp bill. Didn't call anybody in my administration. They don't reach out very often, and it seems like they don't have good relationships in Springfield.
Mayor Johnson likens it to a family disagreement after he helped defeat the governor's push to regulate hemp products like Delta 8.
Look, sometimes within family, we come to slightly different conclusions, but we're all moving towards the same goal, which is to keep people safe, but also to make sure that there's a real voice from everyone when it comes to legislation or any other idea.
But Pritsker says it's a pattern. For all of Johnson's asks from Springfield, like more money for Chicago public schools or progressive revenue for the budget, Pritsker has only heard from Johnson 5 times in 2 years.
With regard to his budget, literally the last call that we got from them was in September. And then once in December, we by the way, scheduled calls. And then they didn't show up.
Why pick this fight with the governor who you need on your side, Chicago needs, for added school funding and for progressive revenue?
We're all on the same team, right?
There was a raucous meeting of the Democratic House caucus in which there was a lot of yelling at staff by people who were opposed to the bill that the speaker did not intervene about. And you shouldn't let staff get berated like that. You just shouldn't.
In our closing time, Governor Pritsker, we had Mayor Brandon Johnson testify before us, and I know you've at times expressed concerns about how he's run his administration in Chicago. I'm just curious if you support one of the things we talked about in this committee, perhaps you prepared for it, was a directive that he sent to Chicago police directing them not to cooperate with federal law enforcement enforcing immigration operations. Do you support that action from Mayor Johnson?
I support actions that follow the law of the state of Illinois and the federal law.
Do you think Mayor Johnson has done a good job with respect to law enforcement in his city?
Law enforcement has improved markedly since the choice of Larry Snelling as the superintendent of police in the city of Chicago.
What grade would you give A to F Mayor Johnson with respect to law enforcement in his city?
I wouldn't grade the mayor. I will say that Larry Snelling is doing an excellent job as superintendent.
Matthew 12, verse 25. And Jesus knew their thoughts and said unto them, Every kingdom divided against itself is brought to desolation, and every city or house divided against itself will not stand. It is also expressed in Mark 3, verse 25. And if a house is divided against itself, that house cannot stand.